At the beginning of March, Donald Trump had said that the attack on Iran would be wrapped up within 4 to 6 weeks. After that, both oil and fame would belong to America, but in the past 6 weeks, two things have definitely been wrapped up. That's it. Number one is America's illusion that it can go to any corner of the world, teach a country about democracy, and make it its slave. And number two is the belief that Israel has only ever been wronged for years, that it's just trying to survive among the Arab countries. Iran is the real villain, not Israel. How America's right to exist has been exposed, how its military has been defeated, and how its dominance in the world has diminished. But now, because of the Iran war, even Israel's biggest trump card is being lost, its mask is coming off, and its true face is being revealed to the world. Within just the first few weeks of the war, Israel made it clear that it has become the biggest threat to the world and to peace today. Forget about saving Israel. Netanyahu openly talks about occupying the land of other countries. Their leaders are making plans to take over Lebanon and Syria. And then, right after the US-Iran ceasefire, Netanyahu did something that left even his entire gang of devotees sitting in America completely stunned. Despite Lebanon joining the ceasefire, Netanyahu dropped 100 bombs on it within just 10 minutes. Thousands of people were killed, yet Netanyahu doesn't stop. He comes before the media and says, ceasefire or no ceasefire, do whatever you want. Whatever you do, we will do what we think is right. We will keep dropping bombs. Using Hezbollah as an excuse, we will kill civilians, children, journalists, doctors, everyone. Because of these tactics by Israel, its support base in America now appears to be shrinking. A new Pew Research study shows that 60% of Americans do not view Israel favorably. Even if belatedly, America is beginning to understand Israel's game and its brutality, how it has crossed all limits of savagery just like Nazi Germany. Now, the Netanyahu government even wants to run concentration camps. And that too, openly. Seeing all this, America has now started to rebel, questioning how Trump can support such a genocidal government, which, by the way, doesn't even listen to America anymore. Even America has to tread carefully out of fear of it. On the issue of Israel, even Donald Trump's most loyal journalists and commentators have abandoned him. They are openly criticizing Trump. And so the state has to, and hopefully the first thing we do, is detach from Israel. This distancing should be a complete end to any kind of military or economic aid to Israel by the US government. Israel, in recent days, has carried out some of the biggest bombings in Iran, firing missiles all over. Fox News is showing it everywhere, where they're talking about these missile strikes, even in Israel. They've just intensified attacks, trying to be at the head of the table. Trump sat at the side of the table and Bibi was across from him as an equal in the American Situation Room. What led him to sit there, an empire with that guy, was that he was buying it hook, line, and sinker, while every other president was able to see through that lie. This is a complete and total US defeat. This is absolute. There is no ambiguity here. It's not debatable. It's not subject to interpretation. We lost decisively. Remember, these are the names, these are the people, these are the influential figures who played a crucial role in getting Trump elected president. That's why Trump has also been deeply hurt by this. That's why after this attack, Trump has been hurling abuses at his old friends, his associates, and his supporters on social media. In response, Candace Owens said that it's time to send Grandpa Trump to an old age home. The world had already recognized Israel's tactics, but now even America's allies like Spain, France, the UK, and Australia are daring to raise their voices against Trump and Israel. Family is spread across the country. See the ups and downs in the energy business. It's all up and down in energy because of the actions of Putin and Trump around the world. This is, of course, an important step. I think this is a fragile place, publicly wanting to reach an agreement, trying to govern, also firmly believe that this has to apply as well. We want to say place in an... And now Trump's opponents are considering how to stop Israel's brutality, how to stop this cancer. They can't sustain operations. They wouldn't be able to continue system operations in an area with conventional military for any meaningful support. We have to pull that back to go on the outside of that. Senator Sanders is bringing a complete bill to the US Parliament to stop military aid to Israel. In today's episode, it's important to understand whether Israel's pot of lies has finally overflowed. Has its true face now been revealed to the world? Is Israel really committing atrocities today that are even worse than Nazi Germany? Why is the world helpless to stop it? Does one call from Netanyahu make Trump dance to his tune? And why, regardless of whether a ceasefire deal happens or not, will Netanyahu not allow the war to stop? Not just to save Israel, but also to save his own skin. It's a very interesting story. So stick around till the end, because on one hand, the war is driving the economy and the stock market. On March 30th, 2026, a new law is passed in the Israeli parliament. According to this law, Palestinians convicted of terrorism in Israeli military courts can be executed. Here, terrorism could mean that a Palestinian threw stones or even raised slogans. In the eyes of the IDF, all of this falls under terrorism. Now, according to this law, the rule is the death penalty. Life imprisonment is the only exception. This law will only be applicable to the West Bank military court, where only Palestinians will be on trial. According to this rally, or rather bill, the method of execution will be hanging. Well, at least they're not stuffing people into gas chambers like Hitler. You have to carry out this sentence within 90 days of conviction, I mean the hanging, which you can delay for a maximum of 180 days. Under this bill, there are also severe restrictions on meeting with legal counsel and family members. This legislation was aggressively pushed by the far right, including the National Security Minister Ben Gvir, who played a very prominent role. As soon as the law was passed, this gentleman started celebrating by popping open a bottle in parliament. It doesn't matter to Israeli leaders or the Israeli public that such a law goes against international law obligations, common sense, and humanity, and that using it on people in the occupied Palestinian territories actually constitutes a war crime. The UN Human Rights Council has clearly stated that Israel's death penalty law strengthens racial discrimination and apartheid even further. It should be repealed immediately. Organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have also called this law discriminatory and have demanded that Israel repeal it. Israel's own Association for Civil Rights has filed a petition against this law in the country's Supreme Court. It has been called unconstitutional and discriminatory. Now, what the Supreme Court there will do or not do remains to be seen. Meanwhile, we have seen protests against this bill in many parts of the world. For example, in the West Bank, Syria, and London. On Tuesday, Israeli police even used water cannons on some journalists covering the protests in Jerusalem. Now, hearing this, don't think that Israel takes such a strict stance with everyone. When it comes to its own citizens, it gives them complete freedom. A report by The Guardian reveals that since 2020, Israel has not prosecuted any of its citizens for killing Palestinian civilians in the occupied West Bank. This has further intensified another campaign of violence because people know they can do anything and nothing will happen to them. The world is watching and the UN is strongly condemning it. Some countries are trying to take a stand against Israel. People are even taking to the streets, but Israel doesn't care at all. Israel's dance of death is still ongoing. This has been going on not just today, but for a very long time. The question is, how long? How long will the world keep watching and not rise up, not open its eyes? Hitler's Nazi officers took several measures to hide their brutality. The real truth of the Holocaust, its actual scale, only became visible to people after World War II, when they saw what was happening in the concentration camps. But the brutality of Israel's IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, often goes viral on social media in the form of videos. Not with secret cameras, not through investigative journalism, the soldiers themselves, the IDF itself shoots all this content. And many times these soldiers even post it from their own handles, because they know there is no one to hold them accountable. No one is going to question them, no court-martial is going to happen. According to a recent report published by Palestine TV in Gaza, Israeli soldiers tortured a 1-year-old child in front of his father in order to extract a confession from the father. According to the medical report, this small child's leg was burned with a cigarette, and a nail was even driven into his leg. Because of this, puncture wounds are clearly visible on the child's leg. Several disturbing videos of the Israeli Defense Forces also keep surfacing on the X platform. In one video, an Israeli soldier is recording himself on video. In it, he is blowing up and destroying a Palestinian building as a gift for his wife. In another video, Israeli soldiers recorded themselves while a civilian house was burning. Then they even posted the video. In one video, soldiers are seen wearing the clothes of women whom they either killed or forced out of their homes, dancing and singing. In another video, soldiers are seen celebrating a Jewish festival, dancing and singing inside the house of a Palestinian family in Jenin, which they had forcibly occupied. In the eyes of Israelis, Palestinians are not considered human beings. They are seen as animals, nothing better than that. This is not something new that I'm telling you. But now the world is truly shocked to hear that they don't even feel a shred of pity for Palestinian children. Inside their physical bodies, you won't see such a scene anywhere else in the world. In the occupied West Bank, 350 to 360 Palestinian children are imprisoned in Israel's special jails. Jails have been built specifically for children. Many of these children are imprisoned without any charges, without any trial. Rights groups describe this as a controlled and abusive, detailed, systematic, well-oiled system. The torture and arbitrary detention of children is considered a clear violation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. But Israel doesn't care at all about what the UN says. In Gaza, Israel has killed more than 150 or 160 UN personnel. even though they knew these were UN personnel. If they didn't care about them, why would they have any mercy for children when the UN holds no value for them? Israel has officially denied all these allegations, but in August 2024, an Israeli rights organization itself described Israel's prisons as a network of torture camps. According to a recent report, Israeli officials kept a 17-year-old child imprisoned for 6 months. He was just tortured so brutally, kept hungry, that the poor little boy, the innocent child, died from his wounds and hunger. After that, Israeli authorities kept the child's body with them for a year. His family was not even officially told the cause of his death. It's not just children. Israel seems to take great pleasure in targeting and killing doctors and journalists as well, because perhaps these people could reveal the truth about Israel's massacres to the world in great detail. Perhaps finally, the international community is starting to pay attention to the fact that if you combine World War I and World War II, it has killed more journalists than both of those wars combined. Not accidentally, but deliberately, one by one, even in their vehicles. Yet despite all this, Israel portrays itself as the victim. It calls its IDF the most moral force in the world and labels Iran as the enemy of peace. In the past few years, Israel has destroyed the most civilian infrastructure in the Middle East. There is no debate about this. Israel has displaced the most communities from their homes. Israel has occupied the land of the most countries for the longest time, has not wanted to return it, and Israel has killed the most children, doctors, and journalists. And Israel has also started the most wars and conflicts. And at this time, when the world's attention is diverted and focused on the US-Israel war, Netanyahu is committing atrocities openly under the cover of this war. After the new Israeli government policies, land confiscation is increasing. Secular violence against Palestinian civilians in the West Bank has now reached its highest level ever. After the war that began in October 2023, there have been ceasefires in Gaza, but even after these ceasefires, Israel has killed hundreds of Palestinians, and not many questions have been raised about these violations around the world. A ceasefire with Israel basically means an ICU fire. That's why people are getting shot. According to a UN expert, the world has basically given Israel a license to torture Palestinians. Recently, a report on Israel was presented in Geneva. UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese strongly criticized the world's governments for their silence against Israel. Her report, Torture and Genocide, clearly states that torture has now become a state doctrine in Israel. Where prisons, genocide, and torture are not exceptions, but the rule itself, that is the formula there.
Soldiers have beaten, humiliated, filmed, stripped naked, and sodomized Palestinian detainees, men, women, and children. They have broken bones, skulls, and teeth. They have raped with metal objects and knives, violating defenseless humans.
According to this UN report, torture is not limited to just the prisons. Continuous bombardment, forced displacement, starvation, and the destruction of homes, hospitals, and infrastructure, combined with the terror inflicted by soldiers, have together turned the entire occupied Palestinian territory into an environment of torture. And this is by design. Criticizing the government, the UN expert has warned that if this is not stopped, this cancer will soon spread to other countries as well.
This disregard for international law will not stop in Palestine. It is already unfolding from Lebanon to Iran, across the Gulf countries, and in its wake and different contexts, it will spread far on.
Because the world allowed the Gaza massacre to happen, because the world's biggest democracies even stopped protests and placards against Israel. So Israel felt that now it could do anything, it became even more confident. Today, more than 2 million people in Gaza are living in tents. Aid is extremely limited, and homes, hospitals, universities, the entire civilian infrastructure has been almost completely destroyed. Now, that same maximum damage strategy is being used in Lebanon as well. On Sunday, March 22nd, 2026, Israel's defense minister clearly stated that, on the prime minister's orders, the IDF has begun the complete destruction of homes in Lebanese villages near the border on the front line. They will be completely flattened to create a buffer zone. It's exactly like a replay of what a king would do here as well. The very next day, on March 23rd, Israel's far-right finance minister spoke in the assembly about annexing Lebanon. In an Israeli radio interview, he said that the ongoing bombing of Lebanon is a new reality and it should end, when Israel's borders will expand. These statements were being made at a time when Israel was carrying out intense bombing on Lebanon. Residential buildings and civilian infrastructure were being destroyed, and the official reason given to the world was that they were targeting Hezbollah. But in reality, the construction of Greater Israel was underway, borders were expanding. This is no longer a secret to anyone. According to the United Nations and human rights groups, this conflict has had a devastating impact on Lebanese civilians. More than 1 million people have now been forced to leave their homes. Just like in Gaza, here too they are living in tents. According to the Lebanese Ministry of Health, more than 1,300 people have lost their lives in Lebanon due to Israeli attacks since March. According to the World Health Organization, there have been at least 75 attacks on healthcare facilities in Lebanon. More than 50 people have been killed in these attacks. More than 100 people have been injured, and doctors and medical staff have been specifically targeted. On
the way, with shell closing exploding just 15 meters from a vehicle, UNIFIL's Quick Reaction Force confronted attacks on peacekeepers, as we've been saying, which are clear violations of International Humanitarian, Medical and Security Council Resolution 17-0. No amount of work,
Everything is happening because of Hezbollah. Every doctor is an agent of Hezbollah. The same formula was used in Gaza as well, that Hamas is everywhere. Every child is a Hamas terrorist. Now we are seeing the same scene unfold here. Whether it's hospitals, ambulances, or journalists, they are being targeted again so that the truth cannot fully come out. But even Israel has its limits. The truth cannot be hidden. But the people of Israel know the truth, so why don't they try to stop it? Because there, Zionist sentiment has been deeply instilled in the people. They believe that what is happening, the brutality taking place, is absolutely justified. Just imagine, during Eid al-Fitr, illegal Israeli settlers break into Palestinian homes in the occupied West Bank. They start evicting people from there. Israeli settlers even reach Palestinian high schools in the West Bank. They break in, vandalize, and write slogans like, "A good Arab is a dead one." This slogan, used in Nazi Germany, "Jews are our misfortune," reminds us how history is repeating itself. Apart from this, settlers in large groups go into Palestinian neighborhoods, attack there, oppress people, and set the local infrastructure on fire. Despite criticism from the UN, all of this continues unabated. The International Court of Justice had ruled that Israel's occupation of the West Bank, which includes East Jerusalem, is illegal. They should withdraw from there. But even so, settlers roam freely and their occupation keeps increasing. It's not decreasing at all. According to reports, before one of the attacks, Israeli settlers placed large stones on the roads so that when they attacked and people were injured, ambulances would not be able to reach the place quickly. A lot of anger and hatred has also been instilled among the Israeli public against Muslims and Palestinians.
CNC Ilkil Dem Bam Namal have released a major new expulsion update, which we find completely unwanted, and we now need to figure out exactly how to eliminate them.
Was choosing Islam, an extremely bad personal decision.
This is a very tragic commentary about a country, about how poison has been instilled in people's minds. Many journalists have also noticed that today Israeli society has become completely fascist.
The whole world has to isolate this rogue, deranged, maniacal, serial-killing, pathological state. You cannot expect change in society.
Just like Nazi Germany in the 1930s during the Gaza massacre, many Israeli citizens mocked Palestinians on social media. While they were dealing with Israeli attacks and the terror they caused, basically while they were dying. Even as they were dying, they were mocked in this way. How can there be so much hatred, so much insensitivity? Perhaps now even people within the community are starting to ask these questions. Even if belatedly, anger against Israelis is now rising around the world. But this anger should not be directed at the entire Jewish community. It's important to understand that not every Jew is a Zionist. Many Jews, many Israelis themselves are standing against this brutality and Netanyahu. In 2024, the International Criminal Court even issued an arrest warrant against Netanyahu, but he could not be arrested. Most of the world's leaders are still largely silent as a result. Today, Netanyahu is able to repeat the same incident, the same genocide in Lebanon. And this is not just a war against one country. For years, Israel's expansionist policy has had one objective, and that is Greater Israel. What is Greater Israel about creating? What is its purpose? What is the idea behind it? We have explained it to you. The world has remained silent about Israel for a very long time. Whenever anyone raises a question, they are silenced by being labeled as anti-Semitic. But now the time has come for the world to stand together. And this genocide committed by Israel, this bullying, this bombing, this propaganda, and possibly even blackmail must be addressed. It must be stopped immediately. Now, even countries like the European Commission, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Finland, and Switzerland are raising their voices against Israel. They are condemning its actions and conduct. The international community must also take strong action. Now, it's not just about strong condemnation. Widespread sanctions must be imposed on the United States and Israel so that the world receives a clear message that human rights violations will not be answered with words alone, but with action as well. India will also have to be a bit cautious with Israel, otherwise, in a few years, Israel could become like the USA. It could control all of India's leaders, making them dance to its tune. Many thanks for watching. More episodes are coming up.